What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know right now in this current state, the Xdefiant developers have no plans on doing anything else besides working on the core 6v6 experience, which makes me extraordinarily happy because, I'm a 6v6 fan. That's my cup of tea. That's my bread and butter. That's what I love in these games, and it's great to know that they're going to spend a year plus worth of time just hyper-focusing on this experience. Because let's be real here, if they juggle more than just this, it's going to make it complex for them to even make, this core arcade experience good in the first place. So, hyper-focus this now, maybe branch off later down the road, right? But man, oh man, one thing that I see the most, guys? Everybody wanting a battle royale experience within every single game that they see, especially when it comes to Xdefiant. But today I wanted to go ahead and bring forth an alternative. I'm not here to ramble your guys' ears off on why I don't want to see a battle royale. I honestly, I've done that many times before. You guys know my opinion on this stuff when it comes to my arcade games. But I want to give you guys an alternative because I know eventually down the road they will branch off. There's no possible way, especially if this game stays alive and it's here for 2, 3, 4, 5+ years. At some point in time, I believe personally the developers are going to try to do something different because what are they going to want to do when the game is finally completely polished off, Yeah, there's going to be your occasional balance fixes and stuff of that sorts, but, the devs are probably going to get bored. They're going to want to design something new and have some fun with the game and bring some spice, right? So I know sometime down the road, even if it's 2-3 years, they're going to want to do something different. And this right here is what I think they should do. A PvE kind of zombies experience. Now, again, I don't want them to go ahead and mimic zombies whatsoever. I don't want zombies to be, the main thing here, because we all know that's what Call of Duty's connected to. And when people think of zombies, they think of either a standalone game or they think of Call of Duty. And this game already has enough problems with people making comparisons to Call of Duty 24/7. On this channel, me personally, yeah, I do make some personal connections here and there, but it's because I'm a COD channel, I don't know what anybody expects from me. I post about COD all the time, and the other game that I post about is Battlefield, but I don't even play it that much anymore, so I don't really compare it as much, compared to what I did back in the day. So COD and Xdefiant is really what I rock, so a lot of the times, yeah, I might mention it here and there because that's what I know, that's what I'm experienced with. I've been playing Call of Duty since Call of Duty 2, the big red one, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, it's just natural knowledge that I've gained, and it's easier for me to make those comparisons. But let's be real here, the majority of the community still compares it to Call of Duty. Regardless, they do with every single thing that comes out, and if they were to go ahead and mimic zombies, you know what I'm saying? It probably wouldn't work out too good. This is what I have in mind here. If we go back to Call of Duty Ghost, a flashback, especially for the man, Mark Rubin, who's the head dev here for Xdefiant. If we think back to Call of Duty Ghost, they had a pretty unique experience called Extinction. Now, I know probably a lot of you guys already recognize what I'm talking about here, but for anybody who doesn't know what Extinction is, it's pretty much zombies, but an alien twist. It was Infinity Ward's twist, but they never kept going with it. Basically, it gave you that PvE experience, but it was more in a story-based format, if that makes any sense. It's more progression-based as you're progressing through the map, whereas in a lot of Treyarch zombies, they just kind of plop you in a round-based area, and, if you just want to sit there and farm zombies, you can go and do so, or if you're more of a hardcore player, you can actually explore the lore and try to find Easter eggs and actually do the story. But in Treyarch games, you had to do a little extra work. Infinity Ward's version of it in Ghosts, you didn't really have to do too much extra work to progress through the story. It was just natural. It was a natural progression, and it was more simplified than trying to figure out how to grind through the story in a Treyarch Zombies experience. But honestly, I think that would be phenomenal to introduce into Xdefiant. It seems as Activision doesn't give a crap about it. They only put it in one game, and then right afterwards, they went back to zombies. Infinite Warfare, guess what? Next Infinity War game, they said, screw that, we're not doing it again. We're doing zombies. Zombies in Spaceland. Nothing wrong with that, I don't really mind. I think zombies fits Call of Duty great. But, it just makes me think that they don't care about this style of mode. And if Xdefiant were to incorporate something like this, it probably wouldn't be taken so serious by Activision, but it would benefit Xdefiant greatly. You see, when you have a battle royale, you have to specifically start designing the game around battle royales. You have to design, patches, updates, fixes, balances, Everything that you would hyper-focus in 6v6 now has to be split with the Battle Royale experience. It's one of the main reasons why in Call of Duty it's so tedious from time to time, even though, although I will say, Sledgehammer Games have been doing a phenomenal job this year. You could look back at all my content and see my opinions about that game. But I have to be realistic here. It still causes problems because the developers are trying to balance stuff in two different experiences. They have two different pages of patch notes now. You know what I'm saying? They have a Warzone patch notes and a multiplayer patch notes. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. And sometimes it interferes with your core experience. But Extinction wouldn't interfere with the core experience, and balancing wouldn't be as complex as trying to balance out another PvP side of the game. You're just going to have to focus on PvE, which is going to be a lot easier to balance, and it wouldn't really interfere with the core-based 6v6 arcade experience. That would still be able to live, prosper, get tons of content, while at the same time, this PvE mode would not overshine, I guess I should say, the core experience, right? Whereas Warzone, they put it in a Battle Royale, it completely stomps out multiplayer. Multiplayer is irrelevant in the eyes of Activision now, and in the eyes of a lot of COD players. Let's be real here. 6v6 hasn't been popular since maybe Black Ops 4, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, and even then it was still continuously dying out a little bit. COD has been having a rough time here, but once they went ahead and introduced a Battle Royale, you go kiss 6v6 goodbye. 6v6 is a camo grinder, an attachment grinder simulator now, and the core experience is now known as Warzone. If you add a PvE mode into the game, something like Extinction, it will be fun, it will be entertaining, it will be something more casual, because yeah, I will admit, even though it's no skill-based matchmaking, I think a lot of the people know that, people are pretty competitive in this game because this game has a pretty juicy skill gap, something that I personally really love. I love that this game is difficult to learn, difficult to master. It just feels better and better when you actually do learn and master it. But there's a lot of people out here who, they get overwhelmed at times. Not all the time. They still like to hop in and enjoy themselves. But I personally think instead of adding a PvP side again, a PvE would be the perfect side mode to give you that casual vibe that a lot of people are looking for. And like I literally just said before, it won't be so much that it will take people away from the PvP side. Because you can only go so far with PvE. I know some people really love to grind it, but for me personally, even with zombies, honestly, I can't even say this is not factual. I'm just going to state this right now. This is not factual. This is literally all opinion-based right here. But when it comes to zombies, as much as I enjoy it, and as much as I have friends who love grinding zombies way more than me. I'm more of a 6v6 guy, but my friends, they love the storylines, they love the Easter eggs, they tear it up. But at a certain point, they just don't care anymore. They can do it so many times, but after a certain amount of time, it does become a bit repetitive, and you have to take a break. You have to take a little bit of a break, and then you can come back to it and enjoy it again. But it's not something like, Warzone, where, or just a Battle Royale in general, a PvP game, where you just want to keep coming back and coming back and coming back and coming back because of the competitive nature of the game. It's nothing like that, and I think that would be a good alternative for Xdefiant, because it won't be enough to pull people away from the 6v6 side of things, but it will be enough to add that little bit of variety, spice into the mix that could really, just get people interested and make the game a little bit more casual as well. I always hear a lot of people saying that they just don't feel the casual nature of Xdefiant, but realistically, I think that this would help them be able to kick back a bit more when they're not in the mood to have to compete in a shooter. Now, I will say, I'm a tad bit worried because they already tried this with Rainbow Six Siege. For anybody that doesn't remember that experience, it didn't really pan out too nicely for them. But realistically, I just feel like that's how the game is designed, It's very tactical, the movement, so on and so forth. It might be a bit more rough to make a game with that consistent, but in a game like Xdefiant where the movement is very smooth and, it feels more arcadey, I feel like a mode like Extinction with aliens would fit it just perfectly. And also the abilities on top of it are just, in my opinion, phenomenal. I think each and every class in this game so far, minus the DeadSec. I'm trying to think of how DeadSec would help with the hacking, tool. Maybe the spider bot could be a bit useful, but it's not going to be very useful when you have waves of 20, 30, 40 aliens pushing up to you. I'm trying to think of what a hacking tool would actually do. Who knows? I mean, like I said, it's not really a concept yet. So they could design all different types of aliens with all different types of abilities that, yes, indeed, might actually work for the hacking tool. And who says the aliens have to be like they are in Extinction? They could be smart aliens. The term alien is just, it's just for something that is not from this freaking planet. They could absolutely make anything and it would work. And like I said, the other abilities I think are phenomenal. You have someone who can give you meds. You have Phantom, which could be on the front line, giving you shields, and the big bubble circle that you can all sit in. It'll be great for someone that's maybe shooting fire or acid at you or something of that sort. A flamethrower to be able to mow down waves of zombies every so often when it's getting really hectic. And you don't have to do it on like like how it is in the PvP experience for Xdefiant, where basically the more kills you get and the more OBJ score you get, it goes up. You could do it like a little buy station if you want to buy, your character's attributes. Maybe at the beginning of the round, you start off with everybody having everything. You get your shield, you get your ultimate and stuff like that. But as the rounds and waves go by, you have to start buying this stuff up and you have to stack and you have to strategically think of when you should be using this stuff and when you should be picking it up. But I really do think that all these abilities will work nicely. Echelon, you could be able to expose and maybe get intel on where waves will be coming a bit bigger so you can actually, get ready and, set yourself up or go invisible and you can flank them and get a good position on, there's so many possibilities. But I think that this right here should be exactly what these developers focus on if, of course, they focus on anything 2-3 years down the road. This is not something that I'm talking about that should be made right here, right now. I want to make that very clear. I'm not saying I want to see this anytime soon. I want at least a year plus of these developers just really digging their nails deep into this Xdefiant experience to make sure it's polished, netcode good, hit rec good, doing some balancing, adding a tons of maps, weapons. I want to make sure that Xdefiant thrives because it's known for Xdefiant. But again, like I said, if this game really does last 2, 3, 4 years, there's no possible shot that these developers aren't going to want to at least, branch out to something to give them a little bit of a creative twist. And I think that this game mode right here, Extinction, or whatever they would want to call it, would be that game mode to put their focus on. Forget about BR. I think this would be perfect for a game like Xdefiant. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, go down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? And if you think it's a bad idea, what do you think they should add in the future for Xdefiant? And again, I understand if people only want PvP to be the thing here, but I think this is a good topic to bring up. Because eventually, like I said, they are going to branch out at some point in time, years down the road. I'm just curious what they're going to branch out towards. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. We post daily here to 8 in the morning Eastern time. And if you guys want to check out any of my live streams, I'll be live today on Twitch around 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, if you guys want to check that out, I got a link to that down in the description below. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all next one. Peace out.